What happens when a man of science tries to cure a supernatural curse with logic? He becomes the monster. Today, we are diving into a terrifying story based on real events, though dramatized with fictional elements. It involves a haunted house, a 100-year-old murder, a possessed brain surgeon, and a demonic ritual tied to a total solar eclipse. This is the story of The House Next Door, a tale that proves some ancient evils cannot be defeated by modern medicine. As you listen to this story, you will naturally improve your English vocabulary and listening skills. The nightmare begins in a seemingly normal neighborhood. Meet Dr. Krishnakant, or Krish. He's India's #1 deep brain stimulation specialist, a renowned brain surgeon working at Silent Hill Hospital. Krish is a man of logic, medicine, and science. He lives a comfortable life with his wife Lakshmi. Then, a new family moves in next door. Paul DaCosta, his second wife Lizzie, his rebellious teenage daughter Jenny, and a younger daughter named Sarah. Jenny is still grieving the death of her biological mother from 7 years ago, making her isolated and misunderstood. Almost immediately, terrifying things start happening to Jenny. First, she randomly falls into a well and has to be saved by Krish. Next, she suffers a violent, unexplained seizure in the middle of the night. Krish rushes over, sedates her, and runs tests. But physically, Jenny is 100% perfectly fine. But the horrors are just starting. During a dinner party with Krish and Lakshmi, Jenny stares into the darkness and claims someone else is in the room with them. A few days later, she wanders dangerously close to a mountain trench, hallucinating, and is nearly killed before Krish saves her again. The family is terrified. Something in that house is targeting the teenager, and the adults have no idea how to stop it. Enter Dr. Prasad, a veteran psychiatrist who believes Jenny's trauma is causing severe paranoia and visual hallucinations. He digs into her psychology, noting her wild imagination, her belief in ghosts, and her obsession with horror fiction. But during therapy, things get weird. Jenny starts speaking Chinese, specifically saying, "Get out of here." Under hypnotherapy, a completely different personality emerges. Jenny claims the house is hers and says her name is Li Jing. She starts violently mimicking wiping blood off her own stomach. Dr. Prasad refuses to believe it's real. He thinks Jenny has spun a delusion to cope with her grief. His solution? A fake exorcism. Prasad brings in a local pastor, Pastor Joshua, to stage an elaborate ritual, believing the theatrical deception will cure Jenny's mind. Krish, the brain surgeon, openly mocks this unscientific approach, but goes along with it. The fake exorcism goes horribly wrong. During the ritual, Pastor Joshua quickly realizes this is no delusion. He shouts that Jenny is not inside the body. Something else is. The entity violently attacks them. It flings the pastor across the room, putting him into a coma. Before passing out, the possessed girl delivers a chilling prophecy. The girl will die. Desperate for answers, Krish and Dr. Prasad start digging into the property's history. They bring in a nomad named Mr. Chang, who communicates with the spirits. He reveals that there are multiple ghosts in the house. Two of them, a mother and daughter, are desperately trying to warn the family to leave because everyone will be killed. But a third, far more powerful spirit is trapping them inside. Krish and Prasad uncover the dark truth. In March 1934, during British-occupied India, a Chinese silk trader named Lu Wei lived in that exact house. Krish and Prasad find a woman who witnessed the events in 1935 as an 8-year-old girl. She reveals that Lu Wei was obsessed with an ancient scroll. The scroll promised that if a man sacrificed a female child on the day of a total solar eclipse, a boy child would be born. Driven by madness, Lu Wei slit his own daughter's throat to fulfill the ritual. The mother died trying to stop him. The spirits haunting Jenny are Lu Wei's murdered wife and daughter. Suddenly, the pieces fall into place. A once-in-80 years total solar eclipse is happening today, March 9th, 2016. And Lu Wei's spirit is back to finish what he started. But he isn't possessing Jenny anymore. Dr. Prasad makes a horrifying discovery. Looking at historical records, he realizes Dr. Krish has the exact same birth date as the ancient killer, Lu Wei. Krish hasn't just been stressed. He's been possessed by Lu Wei this entire time. The signs were there. Krish almost killed a patient on the operating table just days prior because his hands wouldn't stop shaking. As the total solar eclipse plunges the sky into darkness, the possessed Krish traps the family inside. He targets young Sarah to be the sacrifice. Lu Wei, speaking through Krish, places the terrified child exactly where he killed his own daughter decades ago. In a desperate mirroring of the past, Krish's pregnant wife Lakshmi steps in. She threatens to kill herself and her unborn baby if Krish goes through with it, echoing the exact words Lu Wei's wife used in 1934. The spirits of the murdered mother and daughter intervene, holding the possessed Krish down until the eclipse finally ends. The ritual is broken. Lu Wei's power fades. Krish collapses, free from the possession. The absolute brilliance of this story is the misdirection of the haunting. For the entire narrative, the family and the doctors believed the ghosts of the Chinese mother and daughter were malevolent entities attacking Jenny. In reality, these spirits were the heroes. Li Jing and the mother were aggressively possessing Jenny and causing terrifying phenomena just to scare the family away from the house before the eclipse. They were trying to save the DaCosta family from Lu Wei, and the true villain was hiding in plain sight, the rational, heroic doctor who had been saving the family all along. This story brilliantly dismantles the arrogance of extreme logic. Dr. Prasad and Dr. Krish believed they had total control over the human mind. Krish literally cuts open brains for a living, assuming everything can be fixed with electrodes and surgery. Prasad thought he could outsmart a supernatural entity by tricking a teenager with a fake theatrical exorcism. Their overconfidence blinded them to the ancient, profound danger right in front of them. It shows us that treating deeply rooted, generational evil as a mere psychological glitch can be a fatal mistake. Sometimes the darkness isn't in a patient's head. Sometimes it's in the house next door. And sometimes it's inside the doctor himself. The movie leaves us with a deeply unsettling conclusion. We jump forward 4 years to a sunny beach in Goa. Everyone seems perfectly happy. Jenny is heading off to an elite school in New York. Krish is back to normal, and he and Lakshmi are raising their young son, Rishi. A happy ending, right? Think again. Remember the ancient scrolls rule? If a girl child is sacrificed, a boy will be born. Krish was stopped before he could fully sacrifice Sarah. But as we see little baby Rishi playing on the beach, we hear a chilling voiceover repeating the exact words from 1934. If a boy can only be born by sacrificing a girl, then such a child is not required. Did Lu Wei's spirit fail? Or did the trauma and terror of that day satisfy the dark ritual just enough to bring the boy into the world? The eclipse may have ended, but some shadows never leave.